All right, so this is just going to be a real quick video to kind of show you guys part of the reason why I want to update the suspension in my Sprinter or in my Spirit here. You can just tell it's not so bad when you're looking at it, but if you're kind of one of those people that knows when things aren't quite right, this kind of looks exactly like that. So I'm going to spin this camera around and kind of show you guys how it kind of leans over to the right. And granted, I do have some water in here. It's probably about half full or something like that. So, you know, the fuller it gets, the more ridiculous this looks. So check this out. So can't quite tell on camera, right? So I'm going to move in here a little bit and show you guys what it looks like with the tape measure. For those of you that can kind of figure things out just by looking at it, and it's even harder on camera, I get that, but which side do you think it's leaning to? Okay, well, I'll show you. So this is the driver's side, and so if we take this tape measure and we measure from the ground up, you can see this is 33.5 inches, right? And yeah, it's from the ground, and if this tire is a little deflated, that's going to affect that, but it's not. They both have about the same amount of air in them. But for argument's sake, we'll go to halfway the point here and halfway by, you know, from the wheel hub here to the top, and that's going to give us that's a little bit harder to do, but that's about 20 and a quarter, right? So we'll go over to the other side here and we'll do the same thing, first of all, from the ground. All right, and all things being equal and the tires being inflated the same way, that's 31.5. all right, so over an inch there. So let's do it from the hub here, because that will always be the same. And again, that's 18.25. So let's see, make sure we get that. So yeah, 18.25. So that alone, I mean, that really annoys the heck out of me. And let's go inside, as a matter of fact, and just kind of see where the water level is at. We'll just sneak in from here, and I'll show you guys that water level. So I'm going to need to turn it on, of course. So, all right, it's on now. So let's take a look at this fresh water. So 1/3, all right, of fresh water in there, hardly any gray, it's empty. And well, gray is 1/3 as well. So that's so annoying, but that's part of the reason that I am getting it lifted, just to take care of things like that. And I'll show you the reason why it sits the way it does. We're gonna crawl underneath here and I'll show you guys what the suspension looks like in this. And I already talked about this, I think, in one of my other videos, but I just wanted to do a special, just a video special on just this alone. So take a look at this suspension system right here. It's almost criminal that they allow this to happen. Like, this is released as actually sufficient. You can see this spring right here is already sprung, if that's a word. Let's try to get a different angle here. Oops. But take a look at this right here. So you can see that this spring is already sitting flat and it's barely loaded, right? You put some gear in here and take it all the way up to its gross vehicle weight rating, or gross combined weight rating. That means you add a trailer with a 5,000 or 6,000 pound load on it. I think this tows 7,000 perhaps. But imagine putting a trailer behind this and then loading this up with people and everything else. How ridiculous is it gonna ride? Now, I'm fortunate that this one here actually has a rear sway bar, which is not And not all of them have that, right? So if you look down here, that is your sway bar right there, and it's quite a beefy one. It's not too bad, but when I get the four-wheel drive system, all right, so that's pretty ridiculous, right? I mean, that spring is already sprung, and that's before we put weight into it. It doesn't have it's not loaded, right? We got a little bit of 1/3 of water in there, and what does it have? A 25 gallon tank of water. I'll have to put it in the description down here at the bottom, but it's not loaded. That's not how I would go camping. If I'm going to go camping, I'm going to throw a little bit more gear inside it. And yeah, granted, it's got a couple of things in the storage compartment here, but still, again, not ideal that they should come out of the factory like that. This side has the storage, so there's a bunch of storage in here. I don't know how evenly balanced it is left to right, but the water tanks, let's see if we can find those. So this is the fuel tank right here, and it's in the center of the vehicle, and that's really great. The storage compartment, which is right here above me, is kind of off to the side a little bit, so not a lot they can do about that. So when you put gear in here, it's going to have the tendency to want to lean it this way, and then your grays and your other storage tanks are on that side, and that, even with all that, still doesn't help it balance out a little bit. It still leans to this side a whole lot. This is also evident when you're looking at it from the front, and I'll see if I can't show you guys that. It doesn't look as bad right now, and especially on camera, but it kind of leans a little bit to this side right here. You can just kind of tell, and it's even more evident when it's loaded up. So those are some of the things we're going to be able to fix with the four-wheel drive system. So it's going to come with I believe a 6-inch lift, and that'll make it, number one, sit a whole lot better in general. Number two, it'll take out that lean, and number three, I'm going to have four-wheel drive system. So that's, and number three, I'm going to have a four-wheel drive system, which, you know, we live in Colorado. If I go into the mountains right now, I could run into snow, right? Or if I'm camping early season, all that kind of stuff, you know, you could run into snow. That already happened to me once, and it was kind of dicey. I think I got a video. Hopefully, do I have a video? If I do, I'm playing it right now. But I shot a little bit of video just how treacherous it was trying to drive down from the mountains after trying to go camping early, and then it ended up snowing, or we got snowed out, and then try to make it back into the city because it was just ridiculous up in the mountains. But all those kinds of situations, if you've got a better suspensioned vehicle, you know, it's not tiptoe, it's not, you know, kind of top heavy, swaying back and forth, you've got four-wheel drive, all those things will kind of make your vehicle operate that much better. So I can't wait to get that done. I think I'm almost up in the line here. It's taken 4 months or whatever else now to get it done, but I am I think coming up any time now. I'm waiting to get the call to get this done. So hopefully by the end of August, this will be lifted and it'll have four-wheel drive, and I'll be able to get a little bit more camping in before the season is over, at least out here in Colorado. That is it for right now, guys. I hope that this was a little bit helpful for people that are shopping for these things. Number one, you probably can't fix that right now, but it's just something for you to know when you're shopping, that the suspension system, no matter what you get, is likely going to be pretty bad, and you may have to look into getting a system of some sort put into it. You can do springs, and I think that alone is going to improve your ride without doing the four-wheel drive, and that's going to run you, I don't know, the whole complete four-wheel drive system with the lift and everything else is about 30 grand, so it's not cheap, but 32 grand actually, because I'm getting bumpers front and rear as well, but it's not cheap. But I think it's going to ride a whole lot better. So if you're factoring in buying an RV, instead of just looking at it and saying, oh, this is 132,000, you should look at it like, okay, 132 and then a lift and whatever else not on top of that, and you're looking more like 160,000 to get something that's going to drive well, something that you feel like you can actually go out there and enjoy without white knuckling it all the way to your destination. So that is my plan with this. And at the very least, make sure it's got a anti-sway bar in the back. A lot of them, or some of them, or the majority of them, I believe, don't even have that. So make sure it's got an anti-sway bar at the back at the very least. And if it doesn't, that's cheap, right? I think those are like, if you get a Hellwig, I think they're about $130. So that's something you can easily do, and that will improve your drivability. So I'm talking about you're driving down the highway, you pass a semi, they've got a tendency of wanting to rock back and forth. That anti-sway bar will kind of help correct that a little bit. And I believe you can also do it in the front as well. So those two things alone will help. That's a cheap way of trying to fix the problem. You can also do better shocks, better shocks. I know the name's escaping me right now, but if you get upgraded shocks, that as well will help improve it. And shocks are not that expensive. I think at the top end, $150 for a set, or $150 each. But either way, that's if you go crazy, right? You go Fox or something ridiculous like that. Again, all those little things will combine into making your ride feel a little bit better and making it a little bit more pleasant to actually go out there and enjoy it. So quick little video. Hopefully that was helpful. I just thought about it as I was working on a situation to mount my motorcycle here. I was like, you know what, let me just talk about this real quick. So I know I look like a hot mess because I've been crawling around underneath this thing trying to figure a bunch of things out. But anyways, hopefully that was helpful. Sorry if I rambled on a little bit here, but I just wanted to get this information out. Until then, peace.